Hello, I am Patrick Scafito, the head of the new media programming for Balticon 47. That's this year, 2013, happening 3 days from now, May 25th. Wow, it's coming up very close. The Pocket program was released earlier today on the BISFIS website and has generated some confusion. Now, it's beyond the scope of this video to talk about all of the programming that's happening at Balticon this weekend. However, I thought it might be helpful if I go through and point out the specific details of the new media track, since that's what I'm most familiar with. Now, you'll notice that the events page on page 10 started around 6:30, 7 o'clock. Con events actually start earlier. We start off with 4 p.m. There are two new media events happening at 4 p.m. One's in the room Chesapeake and the other's in the room Derby. Most of the new media events will be happening in either of those two rooms. At 4 p.m. we have Podcasting 101, and that's going to be moderated by Alicia Goranson, and Paul Cooley, Chris Lester, and Pamela Gay are going to be on that panel. Also at 4 p.m. in Derby is going to be a panel about meeting other podcasters, and that's going to be moderated by Chris Snellgrove. I apologize, Chris. We're going to have Doc Coleman, KT Brisky, Brand Gamlin, Noblest Reed, and Nutty Nutchess. At 5 p.m. on Friday, we're going to have a panel in Chesapeake called Professionalism and the Emergent Writer. This is going to be moderated by KT Brisky, and it's mostly oriented for people who are new on the writing scene, starting to make their impact. So it's going to have A.L. Devroe, Hildy Silverman, Colin Earle, and Mur Lafferty. Meanwhile, in Derby, we're going to have a panel helping authors find and effectively work with narrators. That's going to be moderated by Chris Snellgrove. I did it again, Chris, I'm sorry. Renee Chambliss, Alicia Goranson, P.C. Herring, and Noblest Reed will round out that panel. At 6 p.m., notice we're just now getting up to where the schedule is on the Pocket program. That's due to a file processing error. At 6 p.m., we will have in Chesapeake Balticon Indie Spirit and What Makes Us Tick. That's going to be moderated by James Durham. PG Holyfield's going to be on it, Alicia Goranson, Colin Earle, and myself, Patrick Scafito. We're going to be talking about Balticon and how it inspires. It was James's idea. I think it's a good one, though. Meanwhile, in Derby, we're going to have Using Comedy to Humanize Characters and Hook Listeners in Audio Fiction. That's going to be moderated by Tim Dodge, and that's going to have Renee Chambliss, oh my gosh, I only have the last names here, and I'm having a brain fail. Harris and Bryant. Lauren Harris, why can I not remember Bryant's first name? I want to say Peter Bryant. I apologize, Mr./Miss Bryant. Please forgive me. I'm doing this at 11 o'clock at night. At 7 p.m., we catch up with the schedule. So, looking here, we've got Nothing, Belmont, and Garden Room is Science Fiction Dead. These are other things, and they are happening. We've got readings. I'm scrolling down to Chesapeake, where Helen Madden, Cynical Woman, will be teaching us how to create webcomics from start to finish on your tablet, and I'm particularly excited for that one. Meanwhile, in Derby, we have Doc Coleman moderating the Shrinking Man Project Live. It's a live cast. Starla Hutchton, Lauren Harris, Justin McCumber, and Veronica Giguere. That one's in the panel correctly. Now, 8 p.m., there's been some confusing. I believe open readings will still happen. However, most things are going to be closed for opening ceremonies. 9 p.m., the new media track starts up again. We have Chesapeake. We have Never Have I Ever. Noblest Reed's running it. Paul Cooley, Allison Gamblin, Veronica Giguere, and Jennifer Povey are put in the hot seats about writing tricks they may have done, writing sneaky things they may have done just to make the job easier. It's going to be awesome. Meanwhile, at 9 p.m., in Derby, we have a live cast of Beyond the Wall, a Game of Thrones podcast. Now, that's going to be Nutty Nutchess running it, I think. Chute Schubert, Christiana Ellis, PG Holyfield. That should be PG Holyfield. And I think some other people are going to show up, are going to discuss Game of Thrones. Meanwhile, yes, Starla Hutchton and Stephanie Burke will be reading in Pimlico. Now, I'm going through this stuff is all right. So we're getting to the 10 o'clock. You'll notice there's no event in Derby. Now, you see here, Friday at 10, in Parlor 3041, the new media party. At 10 o'clock, I'm going to be there setting up. So if you show up at 10, you're going to be helping me set up. At 11 is when the party proper starts. Now, you can come. You can help me up. I'd love to help. But that's going to be happening. Now, the other event, the new media event that's happening here is we have 10 p.m. What's that? No room for the Erotica a la carte Iron Chef preliminary round 3. This is going to be awesome. Noblest Reed is running it. He's, I believe, the guy with the glove from the original Iron Chef. You know, the scary dude. We're going to have PJ Schneider, Bernie Mogis, and Alicia Garanson are going to be the competitors, our Iron Chef competitors. And it's not on here, but Cecilia Tan is going to be our celebrity guest commentary judge. She's going to be eating the food and telling you what she thinks, only with erotica. I should have thought that particular sentence out more. All right, moving on. So I'm going to skip down to Saturday because 11 o'clock is the new media party, and we're all going to be there. I think some other people have other stuff going on, but I'm going with what I know about. So, we go down to 9 a.m. in Chesapeake. Thomas Gideon and John Taylor Williams in Chesapeake are running the Producing Your Podcast panel. And this one's going to be good. I asked for this one specifically from them because I want to know more about this. Just about what's out there, including delivery. I asked them to talk about delivery because that's the part that I'm still kind of weak on. So we go down to 10 a.m. 10 a.m. we have a whole bunch of really cool stuff. In Chesapeake, we're going to have Chris Snellgrove. Again, Chris, I'm sorry. You're going to need to tell me how to say your name. Is going to run this panel. Colin Earl, Paul Cooley, Noblest Reed, talking about e-publishing. Getting in, processing, horror stories, pitfalls. And it's going to be, that's a good group. I'm really excited about the group I got together on this one. Meanwhile, in Derby, the fan track has taken over. So, 11 o'clock, you'll notice you got Paul Cooley and Justin McCumber doing the reading in the Maryland, or autographing in the Maryland foyer. I'm going to point those out when I notice them, but that's what I have. At 11 o'clock, we also have in Derby, James Durham is running a panel called New Media Artists Take on Film. Justin Timpaine's going to be there. He's from Trek Off. I'm going to be there. I'm Patrick Scafito, Hugh O'Donnell, and we're going to talk about what new media brings to film, what film brings to new media, and that's in Derby. Meanwhile, the panel that I'm very sad to miss at 11 in Chesapeake is the Parsec Steering Committee. Laura Burns, John Seymour, Bruce Press, Alicia Garanson, who won for Mask of Inanna, Pamela Gay, and P.C. Herring, and this is going to be all about the Parsec, the people who... I'm stumbling over words, please forgive me. It's all about how I basically have described it as the How to Win a Parsec Award. I'm probably being a little too simplistic, but I'm really excited for it, and I'm sad I'm going to miss it. So someone take notes for me. Okay, scrolling down again to noon. Let's see now. Noon, you have me and Alicia Granson autographing in Maryland Foyer. Yay! But, Noon in Chesapeake, you have Blogging for Dummies. Tim Dodge is running it, Brandon Gamblin, Zan Rosen, Ali Gamblin, and just how to it's going to be about how to do a blog. What works, what doesn't, getting blog traffic. Of course, we know consistency, but these are people who consistently write blogs, and I think it's going to be a good panel. I'm excited. I'm going to say that about all the panels because I planned them all. Or at least put the people together for them or put them into things. So I'm excited about every single panel on here. Noon, Derby. We have Mur Lafferty's book release / a live cast of I Should Be Writing. Either one of those would be exciting, but they're together in one panel. Mur Lafferty has her book, A Shambling Guide to New York, coming out. Mike Cole is misspelled, but he's going to be there. And they're going to be live casting I Should Be Writing. And talking about her new book, which is going to be awesome. So, scrolling down, Um, Chesapeake, 1 p.m. Promoting your podcast. This is in there correctly. Alicia Gorenson is going to be running it. Where am I looking? I've just lost my site, my notes page. Hugh O'Donnell is going to be on it. Ali Gamblin, Scott Sigler, A. Kovacs. And it's all about getting the word out about your podcast. I think this is pretty exciting because in very different ways they have promoted their podcasts. Hugh's podcast is very, very different in the way it was promoted and in the way it functions than from what Scott and A do or from what Alicia does. So I think this is going to be a great one. I sound like I'm way too excited about this. Is it the 15 cups of coffee? It might be. Or it might just be the con is going to be awesome. In Derby at 1 p.m., Renee Shambliss and Alex White are having their reading. There were some schedule conflicts, and that's where the reading's going to be. I know they're normally in Pimlico, but they're great writers, and we wanted to give them a reading. That was my justification. If you have a problem with it, please email me. I'm getting a little feisty. Sorry. All right. In Chesapeake at 2, Trek Off. Justin Timpane. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. This is supposed to be a funny, dirty Star Trek podcast, and hopefully I'm not scheduled against it, because if so, then I did it. But I'm excited for this one, and it should be hilarious. Meanwhile, down in Derby, we have Writing Real Children, Katie Brisky again moderating, Gail Martin, TJ Perkins, who I haven't talked with much, Colin Earl, Ellie Gamblin. That is all in there correctly. Going down to 3 p.m. I'm just going to scroll down. I mean, you can get this on the website. It's in the process of being moved and updated, but I wanted to put the video out there so that people... So there was someone, first of all, so you could hear me, and so that I could clarify stuff. Here we are. I'm going to be on this one. I'm excited. 3 p.m. Chesapeake, Pendragon Variety live cast. Lauren Harris running it. Starla Hutchton, Brian Lincoln, Mike Cole, Merle Lafferty, me, and we will be battling over the microphone because there will be so many of us. And we will be crying tears and singing Empty Tables, Empty Chairs, or is it Empty Chairs, Empty Tables? I don't know. I'm getting it mixed up. It's 11:12 now. Because John Moreau was supposed to be on this panel, and we are so sad that he isn't able to join us at Balticon this year. So I'm scrolling down again, going to 4 o'clock. I'm very awesome at military time, and in the scheduling we do everything in military time. So converting between the two is hard. So Chesapeake, 4 p.m. What self-promoting authors can learn from indie musicians. This is a presentation. Randy Churko, I believe. Paul Fisher just corrected my pronunciation of his name like 5 times yesterday, and that was hard. I'm excited about this one. He was excited about this one. I wanted to make this 2 hours, but I just didn't have the space, and I'm hoping we can get him back next year to do a bigger version of the self-promoting authors, because I'm very interested in this. Meanwhile, in Derby at 4 p.m., Ali Gamblin's running it. We have Betsy Riley, A.L. Devereaux, Starla Hutchton. Now, the reason I'm reading the names is just to make sure that everyone knows that they've not been removed, because some people have been. There's been some confusion. Make your book shine. I like it. I'm trying to get through this day, so I'm just going to keep going. Let's see now. Scrolling down. Derby, 5 p.m. Kickstarter. Hugh O'Donnell's running it. Tilly Sokolov of Sassafras is part of it. Starla Hutchton is part of it. Betsy Riley and Merle Lafferty. And they're going to talk about Kickstarters, whether they've been part of a Kickstarter, run a Kickstarter, and I think it's going to be good. I keep saying that because it's going to be good. Also 5 p.m. I think I missed one. I did miss one? Nope, I'm just doing bad with military time again. We also have put together the total package. Colin Earl, A. Kovacs, Jim Stratton, Starla Hutchton, Alec Gamblin. Making your book sell, all the different avenues, marketing strategies, tools. Meanwhile, reading in Pimlico at 6 p.m., Merle Lafferty, Katie Pintle, and Michael Ventrella. I'm trying to give shout-outs to all the people who I know that's when their readings are going to be. I'm pretty certain that's correct. Going down. 6 p.m. in Derby. Google Plus for authors. I will be taking notes. Pamela Gay will be running it. ACOI's, ACOVAX, and Brand Gamlin. Because I don't get Google Plus, and I probably should, being the new media guy and all. And it's awesome. Meanwhile, much requested, Pure Media Copyright NU. Thomas Gideon with Randy Chirkow, Zan Rosen, and Jim Stratton in Chesapeake. Copyright law. What's changed? What do you need to know? Very, very heavily requested. Now, 7 p.m. Scrolling down. They looked at me like I was nuts when I suggested this one, the business card panel. Starla Hutchton said an entire panel about business cards, and then she made it better by adding and beyond basics of author promotional items. It's going to be her, Helen Madden, and Allie Gamblin talking about all the stuff you need as a writer to promote yourself. Again, this is right. Most of the schedule is right. There's just a couple of glitches. And so I'm going through and I'm going to point out everything because yay. Because I can. Because it's late and that's what I thought. Cut me slack, please. It's my first year. Alright, and 7 p.m. in Chesapeake. Nurturing online communities for writers and fans. This is the panel this was kind of my dream panel. I'm the moderator. You can see that. Scott Sigler and A. Kovacs. You've got Abby Hilton, Pamela Gay, Jerry Smith-Reddy, people who do... I kind of, in my brain, wanted a panel about how do you encourage fans to gather and become browncoats? How do you provide an environment that says, hey, this is a good thing, whether it's a forum like Abby has, whether it's a street team like Jerry has, and I'm very excited for this panel. I'm mostly going to come with questions because, I mean, look at who's the panelists. So there you go. All right, so that was 1900 hours. So at 8 p.m., and I apologize, authors, if I skip your reading. It's not on purpose. It's just I'm doing this to try to do damage control so that everyone can see what's going on. All right, we have two great events at 8 p.m. One very practical, 8 p.m. in Derby, podcast editing. Chris Snellgrove, I'm going to say your name right before the end of this. Chris Snellgrove, Chris Lester, PG Holyfield, PC Herring, Hugh O'Donnell, editing a hot podcast so it doesn't sound like you use a home studio. I mean, I use Levelator, and I think these guys are going to try to go beyond that. I mean, they probably like Levelator, I don't know. But we're going to see, and it's going to be great. Meanwhile, in Chesapeake, you have the release of two different podcast/ebook parties. Paul Cooley and I are both releasing new books. Galaga's Children, Amma, and Storyteller Chronicles the Horde. Both new podcasts launching in June. Ebooks releasing in June. We're going to do karaoke readings. I believe Paul's half of the party will be a toga party, so wear a toga or half a toga. It will be kind of nuts. We're picking the most violent and suggestive passages from our stories, and we're going to have karaoke readings. I'm excited. Alright, scrolling down, blah, blah, blah. I mean, all this stuff is cool. We have a ton of events. I'm focusing on new media because that's what I planned. 9 p.m. Disasterpiece Theater Nights Super Sexy Edition. Alex White, Nobilis Reed, Christiana Ellis, Stephen Grenade. Grenade? I actually never learned how to pronounce his last name, and I'm very embarrassed now. I should probably have done that before I did this video. Too late! So, in Derby, hilarious. Meanwhile, in Chesapeake, for you serious people, Chris Lester's running a panel, Sex and Mainstream Speculative Fiction. Helen Madden, A.L. Devroe, and talking about what the place is. I want to give a shout out at 9:30 in Garden Room. Ditched by Kate is playing. They've played for our panel before, and they're great. 10 p.m. you have Starla Hutchton, myself, and Doc Coleman doing Dirty Mad Libs. This was hilarious last year, and we take erotic novels, we chop out the words, we have you insert the words. Turn that into a dirty joke on your own. I'm operating at 50% here. You know, take it out, put it in, whatever. I don't care. Anyway, it's going to be hilarious and it's going to be fun. Meanwhile, in Derby, Justin McCumber and Paul Cooley are running a Dead Robot Society podcast. 10 p.m. So I don't know how you can be everywhere at once because we've made the new media track too awesome. Then at 11, just when you thought 11, oh, they're winding down. No, John Taylor Williams, Chooch Sherbert, Alex White, and Thomas Gideon come back for audio production tips and tricks. How to make it awesome without driving yourself insane. Yes, they did something like that earlier, but I could use to hear it again. 11 p.m. You also have Chris Lester, Keith Candido, I'm sorry, Keith, and Charles Gannon reading in Chase. Cecilia Tan is doing her erotica reading in Salon A, and it's supposed to be exciting. Then at midnight, Chesapeake, Thomas Gideon, John Taylor Williams, Libation Liberation Front Livecast. Nothing is scheduled against the Libation Liberation Front Livecast except for stuff. Nothing from the new media track anyway. It's going to be great. And I'm very excited. And I hope you can't see the thing that just popped up at the bottom of my screen. Alright, so I've been going for... Okay, I do not want to do math right now. It's telling me how long it's done in seconds. So I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to finish the con. Let's go to Sunday. Sunday, you will notice no 9 a.m. panels for new media. I am sorry. But at 10 a.m., the awesome starts with Business of Being an Author. And that's in Chesapeake. Let's see if I can find it now. Colin Earl runs it. Gail Martin, Hildy Silverman, A.L. Devroe, P.C. Herring, Allie Gamblin. Not the fun stuff, but the important stuff. Making money. You want to make money as an author, you need it. Meanwhile, Jen Povey's reading in Pimlico at that time. In Derby, I believe... Oh, something else is going on. 11 a.m. Narrating podcast fiction. Renee Chambliss is going to be doing a presentation on how to do it well, what to do. More of a practical educational, not a panel. Meanwhile, in 11 in Chesapeake, I'm running a panel with Bruce Press, Bernie Mogis, Mike Cole, about poetry and prose, because I write, frou-frou poetry stuff. Is there a place for that? Should we all be trying to write simple and direct statements, or should we go nuts with the crazy metaphors? Hopefully this will be an interesting panel. I'm excited. In 11, also in Maryland, you've got K.T. Brisky, Jackie Lamplighter, and John C. Wright doing autographings. I'm scrolling down. Scroll buttons. Anyone? Okay. Hopefully this helps a few people. All right. We get down to noon in Chesapeake. Websites for authors. Another one that I'm hoping to get to. A. Kovacs is running it. Betsy Riley, Scott Sigler, Brand Gamlin, and Randy Trickco talking about how to brand. I mean, my website looks like a notepad. I'm trying to be a professional here, and it looks like a notepad. So that's the point of that one. And I think it's going to be a great panel. Scrolling down. Oh, so many awesome things that I want to mention, and it's just so much else going on. Like Cthulhu Out of the Hat, writing prompts for the deranged. I'm not even going to have time to get there, and I want to. 12 noon in Pimlico, Veronica Giguere along with Day Al Mohammed and Robert Waters are reading. Derby at noon, Disaster Beast Theater Days. Last night we had the nights, now the days. We got Alex White, Stephen Grenade, and Thomas Gideon. You know Disaster Beast Theater. And if you don't, go find out. Go download. It'll be great. 1 p.m., Marilyn Foyer, autographings. I believe Cecilia Tan's autographing has changed. I think it's at 6 p.m. Meanwhile, in Chesapeake at 1 p.m., Talk to Me, How to Conduct Podcast Interviews. Tim Dodge running it, Hugh O'Donnell, Stephen Grenade. I'm calling you Grenade because it amuses me. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. Hate me on YouTube, please. Thomas Gideon, Chris Lester, Alex White. I was interviewed by Tim Dodge last week, but they're going to talk about how to do that. I didn't even know you could interview over Skype. How did I get this job? Meanwhile, at 1, you also have Katie Brisky, Gail Martin, and Leona Whisker in Pimlico doing their readings. I'm trying to point out the readings as I do that. I'm making apologies. Whatever. Derby, 1 p.m. Galley Table Live. Doc Coleman's running it. You also have Scott Sigler, Allie Hilton. Did I say Allie Hilton? I'm sorry. I keep messing up your name, Abigail. I apologize. Abby Hilton Before I had Abby Hutchton in the interview, so apparently she and Starlight are the same person. I'm getting off track because it's late. So, Dot Coleman, Scott Sigler, Abby Hutchton, and one more person that I don't remember, but Dot Coleman's bringing along, who does the Galley Table Live with him. And this one's going to be fun. And I'm not on this panel because I'm a nice person and I wanted to give the slot to someone else. And I just am kind of like, still like, maybe I should have stuck my name in there. But no, must share the goodness. So, Scott Sigler, Abby Hilton, Dot Coleman. I'm excited. Scrolling down. Did I mention the 1 p.m. Sunday panel? Yes. Alright, now we're at 2 p.m. Bernie Mojis reading with Danny Burt and John Wright at 2 p.m. in Pimlico. James Durham running a film panel. 2 p.m. in Derby, we have the NaNoWriMo panel with Peachy Holyfield's running it. PC? Yeah, PG Holyfield, PC Harry. PG Holyfield's running it, Starla's on it, Doc Coleman's on it, Pamela Gay's on it, Ali Gamlin's on it, Hugh O'Donnell's on it. It started as a live cast, but it got complicated, and everyone's really excited about being on this panel from what they said in their emails, so I think this is going to be fun. I'm not certain what it's going to be exactly about, except surviving NaNoWriMo and making it to the end. So I like it. Okay. Ooh, they're competing with Sassafras. Uh-oh. Okay, going down. 2 p.m. Chesapeake. Jake Bible, We Hardly Knew Ye. The current state of podcast fiction. And yes, Jake Bible has approved the use of his name for this panel. When he announced his retirement from podcasting, this was one of the first panel ideas I had the name for. And he was like, okay, yes, I want to be a part of it since I can't make it this year. So, Colin Earl runs it. Alicia Garanson, Mur Lafferty, Noblest Reed. I believe there's... Who else should be on this panel? Because someone's missing. Hold on. Who did I miss a panel? Andrews. Scott Andrews will also be on this panel. He's more of a literary guy, but he also runs a podcast for his publishing and print, and I think he's going to bring an interesting perspective. Because, if I'm getting into podcasting, I want to know where it's going, and I'm hoping to make this a staple. Like, what is happening in podcasting? You've got some pretty knowledgeable people. I'm excited. Can you tell I'm excited? I hope I sound excited. I'm also exhausted. Cut me slack, please. I beg you. Alright, we're going down. We're at 3 p.m. Chesapeake, Steps to Successful Self-Publishing. Another one that I'm hoping to get to myself. Colin Earl runs it. Jay-Z Smith. Siren Smith? I can't remember how to abbreviate that. Cecilia Tan, Betsy Riley, Ali Gamblin. How to go from I'm unpublished to self-published and feel good about it, as opposed to self-published and... I want this one. There's a music editing one in Derby. We're not running that one, but it still looks cool. There's too many good stuffs. Okay, 4 p.m. Chesapeake. Narratives and New Media. I'm running it. Jay-Z Smith, Bruce Press, Brand Gamblin. We're going to talk about what can we do in new media that we can't do anywhere else story-wise. We did this last year. I believe Jared Axelrod was on it, and it was great fun. And I'm hoping this new group, we've got some different people, and it's going to be interesting. Alright. Going down. Yoji Kondo's 80th birthday. 4 p.m. at Frank and Vinny's. That might be... No, I can't skip the panel. But I do love cake. Anyway, 4 p.m. Derby. Managing a Large Cast. Brian Lincoln's going to be running it. We've got Chris Snellgrove. Hey, I think I did it. Veronica Giguere, Abby Hilton, and John Taylor-Williams about how to get a lot of people together to do full casts. And these are the people to do it. Meanwhile, 4 p.m. Pimlico, PC Herring, along with Dr. Seti and Alex Schwartzman are going to be running it. I am so bad. I used to teach high school. Butchered names there, too. Okay, 5 p.m. Chesapeake, Social Media Promotion. Pamela Gay's running it. AC Wise, Hildy Silverman, Zan Rosen, Randy Chertko, just We've got all these ways. They're free. They're cheap. How do we use them? And this is going to be, I think, a really useful panel. Meanwhile, on the fun side of things in Derby, you're going to have the Metamore live show. Metamore City live show. Chris is back. Chris Lester. Nobilis, he's got a whole bunch of guests. Nobilis Reed, Veronica Guiguer, Renee Chambliss, Hugh O'Donnell, me, Doc Coleman, Mildred Cady, and Starla Hutchton is on this too. I don't know how big a part I have. He hasn't gotten the script out to us yet, but it's going to be a live radio drama right in front of your face, and it will be awesome. Meanwhile, in Pimlico at 5 p.m., Alicia Gurenson and Tim Dodge and Chris Evans are going to be reading. Oh, I want to go to that. See, that's the problem. Is I want to be like 5 people. Okay, we got book reviewing, shawarma after. WordPress 101, 6 p.m., Chesapeake. Pamela Gay again. She said she can also teach 202, 303, and 909. And we may take her up on that next year. Doc Coleman, Tim Dodge, and Nutty Nutchess using WordPress, as opposed to me who uses the WordPress social website. I'm excited. Meanwhile, the much requested in Derby, 6 p.m. dynamic voice acting featuring Alex White along with Stephen Grenade, Starla Hutchton, Veronica Guiguer, and Laura Spencer. This is possibly the most requested panel this year, up there with the Thomas Gideon copyright one. So, I'm glad we made it come back. Scrolling down. Lots of really cool stuff. 7 p.m. Chesapeake, My Right app. Paul Cooley has an application that lets you autograph ebooks. So, if you're not already going to this panel and you're a writer who sells these books, Anyway, I think that's amazing. And so we're setting a hands-on demonstration. All you have to do to get in on the hands-on part is email your EPUB to paul@mywriteapp.com. It's right there on the page. This is correct in the schedule. Going down, 7 p.m. Derby, full cast versus straight read. It's probably going to be some sort of, fist fight by the end over which is better, which I think is exciting because it's got Tim Dodge, Veronica Guiguer, Chris Snellgrove, Chris Lester, P.C. Herring, Renee Chambliss, and Nobilis Reed. I'd pay for that cage match. But also, I think you're going to get serious discussion. So, going down. Did I miss? We got WordPress, we got My Right app, we got Fullcast. Alright, we are now at 8 p.m. Nutty Bites, Nutty Debate, Terry Pratchett versus Douglas Adams. Piers Anthony need not apply, apparently. Poor guy. It's going to be funny. If you like Terry Pratchett, if you like Douglas Adams, or if you want to represent the Piers Anthony crowd. I don't know if anyone else is in that camp but me. I haven't opened those books since junior high, though, so who knows. Meanwhile, 8 p.m. Derby. Katie Bryski's running from page to pod with Chris Lester, Paul Cooley, Colin Earl, and P.C. Herring. And I think it's an interesting thing, the differences between a book and a podcast. I'm excited. Titillated, even. I just love this title for this one in the McCormick Suite. Is winter coming or what? Nutty's on that, and I think it's going to be hilarious. Meanwhile, Derby, 9 p.m. Music and podcasts. Tim Dodge, Alicia Gurenson, Chris Lester, Alex White, P.C. Herring. Music and podcasts. Is it just for intros? Where to put it? Where not to? Alicia did a ton of music. I just today finished the musical intro for mine, and I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. Okay, 9 p.m. Sunday, James Durham's reading. Mark Jeffrey is not coming to the con. He had a family thing. It's sad. I'm hoping to get him next year. So this is James Durham's reading. 9 p.m. in Chesapeake, time management for writers. Veronica Guiguer, her day job is time management. That's what she does. So she's going to do a writer-focused time management, need juggling presentation, and I think it's going to be awesome. I know it's at 9 p.m., but we can still be serious at 9 p.m., can't we? 10 p.m., Exquisite Corpse, Nobilis Reed, surrealistic writing game. Just show up, be ready to be surreal and write. I think it's going to be great. Meanwhile, 10 p.m. in Pimlico, Elizabeth Black, Paul Cooley, and myself. I'm going to miss Exquisite Corpse. Who made this schedule? Oh, I did. Hmm. Oh well, I'll deal. And this reading is going to be, well, I mean, it's Paul Cooley and Patrick Scaffito and Elizabeth Black. It's going to be not for the little ones. It will probably be gruesome, and it will probably be hilarious, if I do say so myself. All right, 10 p.m. Derby. Requested Podcasters Against Humanity. You've heard of Card Against Humanity. You've heard of podcasters. Many of them are misanthropes. We put them together to create Podcasters Against Humanity. Brian Lincoln, Abby Hilton, Hugh O'Donnell running it. I think it'll be good. I think it'll be funny. Going down. I mean, so many awesome things and other tracks that I want to go to, and I only looked at new media because that's what I did. Because I'm the new media planner guy. Okay, 11 p.m. Words of the Gun in Derby. Justin McCumber, Doc Coleman, book release. It's an anthology, a shared world. Bushido and Bullets. Check it out. Meanwhile, final round of Iron Chef Erotica a la carte. Noblest Reed's running it. Catherine Lively, Steve Wilson, and whoever wins on Friday is going to be here. And they will compete for the coveted Golden Artichoke. That's a thing, apparently. Coveted Golden Artichoke. Alright, now we get into Monday. Monday's a little business-oriented, but I like business. So, 9 a.m. Chris Snellgrove comes back with a solo... Really? Is it just him? Huh, cool. Converting your ebook for multiple formats. How do I make this an EPUB? How do I make it a Mobi? How do I make it work in iTunes? How do I make sure that it works on a Kindle Fire and looks pretty? What's an ebook? Maybe he'll answer that question. I'm mostly kidding about that last one. But hey, if someone has to ask it, Chris Snellgrove's the guy to do it for. I'm speaking the great English. Going down, going down. Oh, coffee clutches. More James Durham. Oh, that's going to be awesome. 10 a.m. Worst moderation ever. Feel free to mention me since I will be moderating a bunch of panels, as well as some other people. Meanwhile, 10 a.m. Chesapeake, Introvert's Guide to Social Media. Everyone wanted to be on this panel. And the people who made the cut are the people who could stay to Monday. And I think this is going to be so much fun. Because I know I don't sound like it, but I'm an introvert. I suspect a lot of the rest of us are too, what with the whole being writers or readers thing. Katie Breisky, Colin Earl, Renee Shambliss, Hugh O'Donnell, Allie Gamblin. How do we make it reach out and not be overwhelming? How do we not overwhelm other people? It's hard. Meanwhile, in Derby, another voice acting panel. This one for audiobooks and audio dramas. Preparation and recording tips. I don't think you can get too much discussion about this in the new media track. Brian Lincoln, Brand Gamblin, Alex White, and John Taylor Williams. I mean, look at the list of people who are going to be talking on that one. It's going to be awesome. Oh, I'm looking at other things. I'm distracted by other panels. 11 a.m. Chesapeake, branding your work for success. This originally grew out of a conversation I had with Starla Hutchton about how important it is to know what your book is when you're trying to sell it. I'm not going to go into detail because that's complicated, or long, or off topic. Off topic, that's the problem. And I'm trying to get to the end of this video for you. Chris Snellgrove, Colin Earl, Allie Gamblin. What is your book? What genre is your book? What format is your book? Are you writing a book? Are you writing a shared world? Are you writing an anthology? I'm really excited for this one. As someone who has had lots of difficulty writing their own fiction. I think I'm not alone in that. Meanwhile, in Derby, hiring a cover designer for authors. I had the pleasure of hiring Starla Hutchton to do the cover for my new book. There were a lot of hiccups in the process and communication gaffes, and it came down to I don't know what she does, and she can't read my mind. And so we kind of talk about that, with lots of horror stories. And a Santa hat. Okay, noon. Hugh O'Donnell's running Dueling Drabbles. I saw this last year. I wanted to be a part of it. I wasn't. I missed it. I can't remember what I was doing. I might have been sleeping. Not going to happen at this con. And I wanted to bring it back. and I think it'll be exciting. Um, oh, 11:30 Pimlico, Bernie Moses and DH Air. Gonna be awesome. Okay, scrolling down, scrolling down, scrolling down. Multi-creatives panel. This was a big success last year. You've got a ton of interests, a ton of hobbies, a ton of artistic expression methods. How do you balance them all? Starla's running it. Renee Chambliss, Randy Churko, me, Patrick Scafito, Stephen Grenade, and PC Herring. How do you balance it? How do you not go nuts? I'm excited. Let's see, is there anything else? Yeah, we should have panels until 1 p.m. Yes, the final panel, 1 p.m. Interactive fiction. Oh, wow. With me and Stephen Grenade about interactive fiction. Because I'm working on interactive fiction. I know Stephen has done interactive fiction before, and I'm excited for it. I hope we can get a couple more people before the end of the con who've worked with interactive fiction, because I think it's a really interesting medium. Meanwhile, you have A.L. Devereaux, D.H. Ayer, and Tom Doyle doing the reading. Okay, and that is it for the scheduled new media events. Now, as you can see, there's a ton of other stuff that I didn't mention. James Durham has a movie Sunday morning that'll be showing. I'm going to repeat, new media party at 11. We have 3 releases. 3 releases this weekend. We have the I Should Be Writing Live cast is going to be a release from her Lafferty's book. 8 p.m. So yeah, let me get that time right for her. It's at noon. It's going to be in Derby. 8 p.m. on Saturday. 8 p.m. on Saturday in Chesapeake. You're going to have Paul Cooley and me, Patrick Scafito, doing both of our new releases, combining our powers for maximum terror. And then Sunday at 11 p.m. you're going to have Doc Coleman and Justin McCumber with Words of the Gun. Bushido and Bullets, people. Come to these releases. They will be awesome. I mean, I'm sure there's other stuff going on that's awesome too. I just didn't plan it, so... Ooh, Jonah Knight's doing folk songs. Paranormal modern folk songs. Yeah, see? There's too much. There's too much awesome stuff. And so I hope this helped clarify who's doing what, when, and where. Email me at thousandheads@gmail.com if you are confused and you are a guest. If you are not a guest, I guess you can email me about the new media track, but please forgive me if I'm slow to respond. You're probably better trying to Twitter me or Twitter at Balticon. I'm Twitter at thousandheads. Or leave a comment below. Maybe I'll answer it, maybe someone else will answer it. I hope this has been helpful. I might do a couple more videos as things get clearer. And in the words of one of my favorite children authors, then again, maybe I won't. Thank you. Patrick Scafito signing off.